Hi guys, welcome back to Jenna and AJ Live.
Hi Debbie, we can see you've logged on already and you're there. Lovely that you're joining us. Hope you've had a good day.
Yeah.
Hope you guys who are watching have had a good day in the sunshine. 32 today apparently.
Oh no, I was working out in it. I was sweating bucket loads.
It was very hot.
Must have drunk like 3 litres of water today just to try and keep hydrated.
And we look really shiny now. It's like not because we're sweating, we've just got this extra light on us. So
I've got a tan to here and then everything's white.
Also yesterday we heard, was it yesterday or today? I get still muddled up with the days, but we've heard, haven't we, that we are now allowed from the 4th of July to go to a restaurant. Pubs are going to be opening and cinemas as well, apparently. Yeah. Very exciting. So our question for you guys this evening who are watching, keep the shirt on, AJ. Ben says definitely.
What, because last night when we met, I had no shirt on.
Not a good sight.
Yeah.
So where would you guys want to go, or where are you planning on going for your first trip to a restaurant?
Well, I know where I want to go.
And who would you take with you? That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, Prezzo. I want to go Prezzo.
Yeah, we do like Prezzo, don't we? Prezzo is good, and it's kid friendly as well, which is sort of.
Ish. It's not really that kid friendly.
No, they do good deals though.
It'd be fine, wouldn't it? But there's no play area.
No.
Anyway.
So you guys watching, where would you go for your first trip out to a restaurant, or maybe you prefer to go to the cinema? Let us know. Oh, I'll come, said Debbie. Yeah, you come with us. Why not? And then Debbie can look after the kids.
Yeah. You do that on Monday anyway.
We'll sit on the table next door.
Look after our kids.
That'd be great. You can come, Debbie.
So today we are looking at God indeed said.
Yes, God.
Has God indeed said, is that right?
Yeah, has God indeed said. So it's from Genesis 3, verse 1. We've got Tim joining us. Just before we invite him in, don't forget that you can ask your questions and put your comments on, obviously, as we are going, because obviously this is live, so we want to have your input.
Yeah. Ben said Turkish food. Oh yeah, right in there with Turkish, mate. So nice.
Turkish is good.
Lahmacun, that's what you want. If anyone doesn't know what a lahmacun is, it's a really, really, really flat, thin pizza with like tomatoey stuff on it and a bit of mincemeat.
But most places you go, they've never heard of it.
It's so amazing, I know. But the proper Turkish restaurant will know what a lahmacun is, and they'll make it for you as well.
Anyway, on that note, let's invite Tim in because he's waiting to join us.
Hi,
Tim!
Hello.
How you doing, mate?
Doing all right. I'm enjoying listening to your lahmacun chat.
Have you had lahmacun yet?
Never.
Really? Mate, next time we go to a proper Turkish restaurant, order lahmacun.
And they'll just go, "Oh, what?"
And then he describes it to them, and then they're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Something.
No, I don't know what it is.
Some of them.
Well.
Yeah. Where would you go, Tim, when the restaurant's open? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to take Chloe?
Oh, well, yeah, it's about time we had a date night, isn't it? After about 3 or 4 months of being locked inside. I was thinking there's a really good fish and chip shop in Harpenden. Yeah, amazing. It's called Godfrey's, and it's like the best fish and chip in Hertfordshire. Oh, it's amazing.
Is it really good?
In Harpenden. And they do like these homemade pies that are like sort of that big, like steak and red wine and.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're going to take her for a nice romantic meal to the.
Yes, it's not great. Is it?
It's got loads to look forward to.
But you've got to keep it real, haven't you?
Yeah, that's it.
Course, yeah.
We do like fish and chips as well.
But I took Jenna to KFC for our first date. So.
Yeah.
Bucket, no. Tower Mill, that's Jenna's favourite.
KFC, yeah.
Feeding each other over the table like your big differ.
I think we ate it just outside somewhere.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. So, Tim, thank you so much for joining us. You, as we said, are speaking on 4 words. Do you want to just introduce a little bit about what the 4 words are, why you chose those words for us?
Yeah, so has God indeed said, like you said, was Genesis 3, verse 1. It's always been a subject that's sort of close to me. Like, So, I mean, you guys know my story anyway, but I wasn't always a Christian. So I came to know Jesus when I was about 21 21, I think, at university. So gone out partying and, that kind of thing, teenage years. And I started sort of, I met Chloe, my now wife, who sort of put me back in line, basically. Just like, I'm not having anything to do with you unless you're a Christian. So I'm like, all right, okay, better pay attention. It's like an absolute conflict, like, yeah, what am I going to do here, what am I going to do?
Like her, yeah.
Probably she's very strong-willed.
Oh, mate, she wasn't having any funny business. A proper slap down. So it's like, yeah, like, so it made me think, like, it's got to be real, like, if she's that serious about it, then there must be some sort of truth in it. And she gave me a, like the small pamphlet you get with 10 questions about God or whatever. So I started reading that and it started making sense. And then one of the key bits was I went to a Christian Union meeting at university, and there was a guy there who worked on top secret military contracts.
Oh, wow.
And he had a machine, proper James Bond stuff. And you're like, okay, I'm listening now.
Yeah.
Like, like having this spy, like whatever he was. And he had this machine, and it's the last day of his project, and he couldn't get it to work. And so he said, right, God, you're going to have to give me the answer to this. Like, how am I going to make this work? So, all right, okay. And then that night, he saw his machine. He said in the vision, just in the night, like he saw this picture and this part coming out of the machine, turning upside down and then coming back in. He thought, all right, that must be from God, because I'm fast asleep. So he tried it anyway the next day, and the machine worked perfectly.
Wow.
And I'm like, right, okay, this is real. And then,
so had you been to church before? You like grown up in a like?
Yeah. So I had, but then I sort of, when it doesn't feel real, and you're just sort of, your parents have gone, and you're sort of going through the motions kind of thing, but it didn't feel real to me. Yeah. So it's like, if it's not real, then why believe in it? If it doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
So ended up coming back, having this guy talk about that, and it's like, all right, you don't make that up.
Yeah.
You can't make that up. And then not long after, gave my life to Jesus after nearly crashing my motorbike in Loch Lomond. And then I was like, I was just like, gave my life to Jesus at the side of the road.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So actually from like the beginning really of your like walk with God, or your relationship, sort of your journey being a Christian, you had like an experience of hearing where God had spoken to somebody.
Yeah.
Was it that kind of made it real for you? Is that why this verse sort of means a lot to you?
Yeah, because it wasn't just talking about it. It wasn't just like the normal going through the motions type thing. I'm just going to sing this song, or we're going to listen to this passage or whatever. It's very much like God had to be real to me at that time, and like had to speak. Because if he wasn't real and he didn't speak, then I'm just believing something that someone's made up somewhere.
Yeah.
But if I'd like heard him myself, or heard him through this guy, where I couldn't sort of make it up, then it was like, okay, big clincher, And then that sort of inspired me for the verse, really. So has God indeed said? Because he could have not paid attention to that. Could have just and ignored it, or maybe I just ate something funny. I'm just having this picture and just whatever. It's one of those things, the thing never would have worked, without taking that step and saying, maybe God did indeed say.
Yeah.
Yeah, give it a go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting to hear how that impacted you in your walk.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So how sort of since then? So I don't know how many years ago that was.
15 years ago now. Yeah.
So, are you that old?
Mate, honestly.
You don't sound cool, mate. Yeah, you don't sound cool.
Do you know what? I'm into the years now where I stopped counting. You know,
Yeah.
this mid-years where it used to count. You're like, yeah, I'm 21 or 22.
Yeah.
And now
Oh, you don't
wake me up when it's a round number, you know.
Yeah.
So about 15 years ago, so that had an impact on you then. So how sort of since then have you personally heard God or had God speak to you in different situations? Is there like examples that you're happy to share with us?
Yeah. I mean, I've been thinking about it, obviously, because I knew I was going to speak about this, and like just to demystify it, I suppose, is a lot of it is just the day-to-day, you know, like walking with God. I'm just saying, like, right, God, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And obviously, there's times where God really has spoken, and really has like, you know, like light bulb moment. You're like, wow, God, you know, you're really speaking to me. But a lot of the time, it's just that day to day sort of, oh, God, what do you think about this, or what do you think about that? You know, and trying to follow that. Just as a, I know that's the boring sort of first part, the disclaimer, but like that's the truth of it. Is just that day to day walk. But yeah, I think one quite cool example was me and Chloe had just been married, maybe coming up to a year. We were living in Leeds at the time, and I didn't have a job. And I was just like, all right, God, you know, like what are we doing now? Like, what should we do? Like, are we just going to sit here and do nothing? And then all of a sudden, I heard like South Africa. I'm like, all right, cool, you know. I don't know what that means. And I had a mate who was praying with me, and he's like, I don't know why, but I just keep thinking of like the Tri Nations rugby, which is obviously Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand. I was like, okay, you know, like we'll take a step out in that, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but we'll just take a step anyway. And that was a little confirmation. And then literally,
that'll be like, I don't think God's saying that. I think I just want to go watch rugby.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's a big lad as well. He's like 6 foot odd, and he's like well into his sport. We're just like, all right, fine, we'll just go watch the rugby. Because we're like Christian, we just took a step, you know, we're like, all right, fine, maybe God's actually saying this. And it must have been 4 or 5 months. We end up in South Africa, me and Chloe doing this, like, it's sort of like a mission trip, but just sort of going out and sort of, there's a little course that we did just outside Cape Town. We were there 10 weeks, and then we ended up going to India, just doing sort of, you know, crazy things like helping street children, or, you know, orphan kids at the railway station or whatever. Loads of things like that, like the Mother Teresa homes for the dying people and stuff. So it's pretty full on, but like that all stemmed from just opening myself up to God and saying, all right, God, what are you saying? You know.
So did you have plans like to go and do something abroad anyway? How or like, and ask God specifically, okay, God, where do you want us to go? Or did you sort of pray just like a general prayer, or like, I'm just trying to think how that might help.
Just general prayer, yeah. Like it wasn't, I mean, I would say naturally, like I do anyway, I've always liked traveling about and doing different things, and, you know, going to these different places and looking for experiences and stuff. But I was generally just open. Like I'm just sat at home with not much to do. It's like, all right, God, you know, what should we do? Yeah. And then we ended up in South Africa, like a few months later, 4 months later, 5 months later.
How did that take place? Like, what was the process? So you thought, okay, we want to go to South Africa. We feel God saying that. So did you get in touch with the people over there, thinking, what are they doing over there? Can I get involved somehow? Or...
Yeah. So it was with YWAM, so Youth with a Mission, or like a young people organisation that do all these kind of trips. And our church leader at the time was an ex sort of YWAM guy. Right. He's like, oh, why don't you just try that? They've got bases in South Africa.
Okay. So
like,
someone you're connected to, and then
You just started asking the question, you know, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, and just sort of trying to.
So am I right in thinking that they've got branches all around the world, and if anyone wanted to do that, they could just literally get in touch with YWAM directly and go ahead and do that?
Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere. they're everywhere, like bases everywhere. I think their main headquarters is in Hawaii. So I mean, you could. That's not a bad like little break, is it, off to Hawaii and stuff? But yeah, there's more like loads of things you could do, but it's when you hear God in that way, you're like, okay, you just start exploring, and maybe he meant this, maybe he meant that.
Yeah,
you sort of just feel your way through it. Yeah.
So when you said that, obviously you heard God say that, you knew that it was sort of God saying South Africa, or you thought that it was, so you sort of kind of tried that out.
Yeah.
Obviously, like the idea that God speaks might be quite strange to some people. Because we were talking about this a bit earlier, weren't we? Like in the verse that this comes from, obviously it's right at the beginning, isn't it, of the Bible in Genesis? So Adam and Eve were obviously there. It was very different in a way for them because they had God like with them.
Yeah.
So obviously don't quite know what that looks like, but it might have been, I don't know, maybe it was easier for them to know that God spoke it because they had that real close, intimate relationship. So they're like, I know 100% God said this. But sometimes maybe now, like, how do we know that it's God saying something to us? How can we be sure it's him? What are the signs to sort of look for? How does he speak to us?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it says, it's not one of the verses we had up, but it says like, his thoughts about us are as numerous, as many as like the grains of sand on the seashore. So it's like he's more than capable of speaking to us in any way that basically reaches us. So maybe you're a person that you just walk down the street and you see something in nature and you're like, wow, God's really speaking to me about that, a flower or something or a bird. You're like, oh, right, or maybe you just, friends can say something and all of a sudden it triggers you, or like not triggers, when you sort of think, that's
why am I thinking that? Like that was random. Why did that come to mind?
Yeah. Or you're thinking something and then all of a sudden someone else says something exactly the same thing you're thinking, and then you're just like, okay, maybe God's trying to tell me something.
Not a coincidence, or
God incidents,
Right,
like it's all valid, like if he created us and he's created the world and everything in it, then he can use anything to speak to us at any time. And it's just it's whatever way he can do to get that message to us, that it can literally look like anything. Some people have dreams or vision, conversation. Maybe they see an advert on the bus and that just, you see a sign, you're like, well, okay, maybe that means something. It can literally, it's more being open to it, I think. Because you can stress yourself out by being, all right, God, speak to me, and you go into like your bubble or whatever, or your prayer closet, and you pop a vein out your head trying to like hear from God. And it's like sometimes it's easier just to go like as you go. He'll drop something into you. But it's just being open and ready.
That's it.
To do something.
I had a story about that actually, like, which I've shared before in Alpha, but I remember when I was little, like I really wanted to get married at some point, and I just had this feeling sort of as I got older that what if like God doesn't want me to get married? Like, what if that's something that I really want to do, but he hasn't got that plan for me? And it was something that I got quite like worried about, which sounds silly now, but at the time I was quite worried. And I remember saying, like, sort of half praying, and I was like, God, like, I kind of wasn't even really a prayer. It was just sort of me saying it. I was like, am I going to get married? Like, it'd be really cool if I could like have some like confirmation of that. But in a way, like, there's no way he can like give me confirmation unless he like writes it in the sky. And that how I'm gonna like not read into things and think, oh, because I want to hear that, I'm looking into things, which I think is quite difficult, isn't it? But then it was like a few days later, and I was a TA in a school, at the time, and I went in, and this little one of the girls in my class was doing that like game. I think it's called like fortune teller. So yeah, like ignore the game, ignore the name.
That one.
But it was really cool. And then she asked me, she was like, "Miss, what number do you want?" So I chose it. Anyway, the thing that she opened, she went, "Oh, Miss," and I was like, "What?" And she goes, "You are going to get married." And I was like, oh my word. I was like, yeah, it was so cool, because she obviously had no idea why I was really excited about that. But for me, it was like really cool, because like God knew that was important to me, and he like confirmed it. So that's another way. Yeah, so he spoke to me. It's like you were saying, like a sort of just a natural thing that was going on around me, but because I prayed that and I was open to it, sort of
a little bit dodgy though.
No, it's fine.
I probably should say that we were doing that in class, like probably should be learning or something.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. So, anything at any time, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So another sort of question as well is, so once you have heard God speaking, how do you like go back to that when you feel like doubt has come in? Because I suppose that's linked to this verse as well, because they, like in the story, the serpent was asking Eve, wasn't she, like, has God really said that? Has God indeed said that? And that might have created some doubt in her.
Because ultimately it leads to them sinning, or like just doing wrong by God, and then because they've done wrong by God, then they end up putting a barrier between that relationship. You know what I mean? And I think that's really like a key moment, even for us now, to realise that when we do stuff that is not like it's like just the stuff that ain't great, like in our lives, it puts a barrier between us, isn't it? Us and God. So I'm just thinking like that verse resulted in a barrier being put up, and I mean,
but because she doubted what God had said already.
Yeah, so sometimes I think we can doubt and we can put barriers up in our own lives. Do you know what I mean? It's quite deep, but I think it's quite relevant as well.
Yeah. Well, I thought this was interesting because I was looking this up, and I counted the number of times God said something before you get to Genesis 3:1. You know, where the serpent comes in and brings the doubt, and God actually said, God said, "Let there be light creatures," man, whatever, 11 times. And like it was 11 times before the serpent said anything. And it's sort of a bit interesting. I don't know where I'm going with it, but it was 11 said, and one was the commandment that you shouldn't eat from the tree.
Okay. Yeah.
In Genesis 2:16-17. So it said, "And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die." And it was sort of interesting that they lived in that day-to-day relationship with God, like in perfect. It was perfect, And the one thing that God told them to do,
well, not to do,
or not, not to do, not to eat of that fruit, and they did it, and it's like how you've thrown away like this whole perfect existence that you've got, perfect relationship with God, and you just basically thrown it away by then eating the fruit by the doubt. But
so is it bad to doubt then? Because I sometimes feel like it's like I'm doing something and I feel like God said to do something, and then I doubt it because I think I don't know if
is that just me, or
is it just me, or is my ability won't match up to that? You know what I mean? I think if I look back on a few like other characters in the Bible, like Moses doubted as well.
Yeah,
you've got Jonah.
All did pretty much. Part of it.
I mean, I think it's almost normal, but then on the other hand, is that a result of what happened initially in the garden? You know what I mean? With Adam and Eve and the serpent and God. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's pretty normal, if not ideal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like Jesus believed everything the Father said and followed it, and he perfect in all of his ways, you know, and that's what redeemed does. So it's not like we need to doubt,
right?
But obviously we do, because we're human beings, and it's not like you can
just get rid of it.
Yeah, it'd be amazing if we just thought, right, God said, let's get on with it. No doubt.
Yeah.
You know, it would change the world forever. It would be. I mean, imagine the people of, you know, if people did that, how amazing the world would be.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, by not doubting, but at the same time, we understand that it's part of our existence. You know, it's just.
So when that happened, when the doubt came in, can we talk a little bit more about like the result of that, and basically what happened to the relationship with God and this, that, and the other? I don't know whether that's where you want to take it or not, but is that something that you want to look into a little bit?
Could do, yeah. I mean, I guess my angle was that we're always in a dilemma, you know, between hearing perfectly from God and that sort of doubt, fear, you know, kind of thing, and we're sort of balancing it up. And I'm literally just fascinated by the idea of what it would look like if we just heard God perfectly and just believed, you know, and the things that we could do, like going back to the engineer guy, you know, the military contract thing. Like, he heard what he saw it, he believed it, and he did it, and it worked, you know. And I'm just fascinated by like what the world would look like if, as Christians, you know, like if we did that. And then if for those who, you know, sort of working their way along that journey by listening to this, that like that God is speaking to them, in whatever way he's trying to knock on the door, you know, and say, look, I'm here, I'm real and stuff, and just
invite them,
invite them in, you know.
So if we feel like God's speaking to us about something, even if we doubt it, is it still better to just sort of
test it,
like go for it?
100%, 100%. Because like if we, I had like the three, come on, it's a bit cheesy, but like the three words of responses that you hear God or you think you hear God, and you can either doubt might be a response where you think, did I really hear that? Did God indeed say? You could flout, which is just that you just hear it but ignore it because you're too interested in what else you want to get on with in your own life, and maybe just like it's too difficult or too whatever, and you just completely ignore it. Or the third one, I mean, I was just trying to make it rhyme basically, but shout. The shout. So like
doubt or shout.
Doubt or shout.
That's really good. Love that.
Then the shout being that you hear what God's saying and you're just gonna believe it, and I'm gonna shout this out and say, right, this is what God said. And I'm gonna do it. You know.
That's really
good. Doubt, flout, and shout.
That's really good. And I suppose we're just going to look at some questions in a minute, actually. But I suppose thank you guys for writing your comments and questions. We are going to come back to them. Sorry. What I was going to say now. I suppose, like, as well, something to remember if we're not sure is that God has good things planned for us, doesn't he? And he's a good God. He's not going to. So anything that he is saying to do, it's not going to be like bad or hurt somebody else, or it's not going, because you know quite often we hear, don't we, like of like tragic stories where people have said God's told me to do a certain thing, and it's not it's not from him, it's not good, it's not been encouraging, it's whatever, it's had really awful consequences. So I suppose one way is that we can, if it's good and if then it's likely to be from God. But how are like some of the other ways that sometimes we can test to see whether it is from him?
Okay. I mean, I came up with just to sort of confirm your point, Jenna, I came up with the verse John 10:10.
Oh, I love that.
the thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. So that would be, the sort of has God indeed said versus the doubt. He's come to take it away. God says something to you and you're like, some of it just gets stripped away, from the doubt and the fear and whatever. And then, but God says, but I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
So Jesus always comes to bring life,
Yeah.
And if he tells us to do something, then it should always be for good, for good, to bring people life, to bring people closer to him, to make people's lives better in some way. Jesus' ministry was always like orphan and widows. I mean, he reached out to everyone, tax collectors and stuff, but it was always to like bring people closer to him or to make a positive difference in the world. So if someone's taking God's name, I'm doing this for God, and then they go and massacre a bunch of people, or all the bad stuff, then you listen to the wrong God. And the point that would follow that would be like he won't contradict his word, like, so the Bible, he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So the Bible's always a good source of backing up what you've heard. Good community is also key, like having friends that you can talk to and just that godly counsel.
Get advice.
I mean, that's Christianese, godly counsel, but basically good friends that would speak into your life and say, do you know what? Yeah, that's not right. And then at the same time, they might say, well, actually, I really believe that, and you should go for it. It's having that support network around you where you can have the confidence to ask those kind of questions, and
that's brilliant. Also, I love what Candice said. Maybe Ben, you could just pop that up. Sorry, Candice, I know you said that a while ago, but it's a great point. She said that I think it's a peace within us. So if I feel God is talking to me, I wait for that peaceful feeling within, and I think about Jesus's character and discern from there if Jesus would want that for his child. That's really good. But mostly it's a sense of peace. And there is a verse, isn't there? I don't know where it is. Romans, is it? Where it says that the Holy Spirit will bring like peace to your mind when you've made a decision in something. So I think, I love that. And I think that's so true, isn't it? That you get this kind of feeling of, even if it's a difficult decision, a difficult thing you have to do, or you feel God saying, sometimes when you just do it because he said, you can still have that peace. That links to that verse, peace beyond.
And it works the other way as well. Like if you're, we all do it, right? But if it's something that you just really want, but God's saying, not now or never, and you're like, but I really want it. I really want to do this. I don't, God, I'll love you forever if you just let me have this thing or do this thing. And you feel that like jarring, you think, it's that like, and that sort of goes on to the flouting. That you could follow through with that and just walk away and just go a different direction, and God will say, well, okay, bless you, off you go, and when you're ready to come back, I'll be here for you. Or or we just turn around and you would come back and say, all right, God,
No, you can say.
Sorry, I just have so many questions about this topic. I think it's so interesting. I feel like we could be here all night. I'm just aware of the time. But I had another question. So if you think God said something and then you don't do it, you kind of know, but you don't do it. Do you think God can still bless you in what you choose to do? Even though you haven't gone the way he wanted you to? Is he still with you in that situation? I think
so.
I think you can,
I would say so, because you're always going to be a child of God. If you accept Jesus, you're always going to be saved. You're always going to be one of his children. And live in that relationship as a son or a daughter, rather than a servant. So it's not like you're going to be cut off. But you do miss out, or you can miss out.
Yeah, it's not
by,
yeah.
By like it's more the heart, right? Where he's a good father and he gives good gifts to his children, you know, and he wants good things for his children. And if we choose to walk away from that, we're sort of walking away from the good things that he has for us, even if they do or don't feel that good at the time, you know. And so it's more having that mentality that we can walk away and we can choose to ignore him, but we're sort of cutting our nose off to spite our face, you know, because he is good and he has good things for us. And by choosing to go our own way, we're sort of putting that at jeopardy a little bit. But it'll always, you know, like it says, the 99 sheep, he's always going to go looking after the one, you know. He's always going to come searching for you and trying to like bring you back, because he is a loving God, you know, and a loving father. But it's easier for us if we choose not to sort of
walk away,
go astray in the first place.
Yeah.
That's so good. I suppose it's like a parent relationship. Well, it is a parent relationship, but I mean, like when we look at it with like our own kids, like no matter what choices they make, and even if they don't listen to you, like you still love them, you're still with them all the time, you know. But you know what's best for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, Debbie wrote something as well, actually, God, which is what you just said about like after the leaving the 99 and going for the one. God is persistent in his pursuit. He searches you out and reminds you that you get it until you get it. I think she means get it. You get it. Reminds you. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's definitely true. Like he never gives up. You know, he never gave up. Like the minute Adam and Eve ate the fruit and stuff, you know, like the rescue plan was put in place, you know, through Jesus. And we just, we can reject him a million times, but he'll always come back, you know.
Absolutely.
To bring us back to him. So
I think we're sort of running on a bit now. So
it's probably a good place to stop, though.
Yeah,
isn't
it's been really, really like interesting, and also really good to.
Yes, so good.
So
good. Sorry.
Good.
People have commented that so good, but honestly, this stuff is so good. Like I feel like I'm learning and getting so much out of it. I hope everyone, you know, other people are as well. But thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
well, thanks for having me.
Closing in prayer for us, Tim. Is that all right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Yeah, God, I'll thank you for tonight. I thank you for tonight, and that you're speaking to me as much as anyone else, God. And I thank you that you are a loving God, and you love your children, and you have amazing, amazing, amazing things planned for us. We just, we need to say yes and step out in faith and just trust you that you are a good God. And even if we doubt, like, just bring us back to you. Even if we walk away, just keep chasing us, and just just help us to like keep looking at you for every step of our lives. And I pray for those people on a journey that maybe haven't accepted you yet, that they would hear your voice more clearly than ever. They would hear you knocking on the door, and that they would just, you know, let you in and just show that you would just show them how good you are. So Lord, I just bless them as well to come to know you and how good you are. And everyone who is a Christian, that they would just know you more and in a deeper way. Yeah. So I'll just bless you all. Just thank you, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Tim, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good evening, and we will chat to you very soon.
Yeah, all the best. After yourself.
Thanks.
Good on.